Hello, everyone. Uncle Rockstar here with a treat for you today. In this video, I'll show you how you can go from zero to full Rockstar developer hero powered by AI. So, if you follow this video I'm doing for you, in less than 30 minutes, you'll have a setup in which you can turn any idea you have into real code that runs on top of BTCPay Server. And I must say, it's really cool times we're living in. With recent advancements in AI, we have entered an era where instead of spending months just learning programming syntax and tooling and all that stuff, you can increasingly now just chat with AI, describe your intent, your idea, and what you'll get back is working code. And there are so many examples of this nowadays. It's really, really crazy what people are building with AI. And I found this thread earlier this year, even like AI has gotten so much better since March. But when I see what people are building just by chatting with AI instead of manually coding, it's wild, man. It's wild. So the good thing is that you can now do this for your ideas related to Bitcoin because you can code on top of BTCPay Server. Really, the best part is that everything is advancing so fast that AI models we have now are pushed to the point where, in most cases, they generate code that is cleaner and more consistent than what average developer writes by hand. And I worked with many developers over the decades, and definitely it's insane that AI is now on average better than average developer, because this fundamentally changes who can build software and how they can do it. For me personally, as someone that has been building and coding for decades now, this feels very similar to the shift we saw in 1980s, where we completed a move from assembler code to higher level languages like C and C++. And really every major advancement in programming was about abstraction, adding layers so that machine code complexity is hidden away and that humans can focus on intent rather than writing a code that translates to executable that machine understands. And part of this abstraction as well is all about the fact that you don't need to now figure out how you code an app that you need to host and maintain on your own server. Instead, what you're doing is you're packaging the functionality into a plugin that's available to all BTCPay Server users. And BTCPay Server is quite popular. It's just the big thing is that there are users and there are even hosting providers that you can use to spin up a BTCPay server super easy. My favorite one is Lunanode. It's been supporter of BTCPay Server and been with us for a number of years now. But there are also other providers like Voltage, LSTO, and if you go in our documentation, you will find links to different hosting providers and the ones that have web deployments where you can just launch BTCPay Server super easily. Besides that, huge hosting providers like Contabo, which is one of the biggest hosting providers in Europe, has their own documentation like, oh, get BTCPay Server up and running. So you when it comes to hosting BTCPay Server, you're in a great place. Just pick whatever hosting provider is easiest for you. And if you don't want to host it on someone else's infrastructure, what you can also do is get a node, pre-assemble like server with software, and there are also a number of these that come with BTCPay Server. One of them is Start 9, but it can do Umbrel or whatever you prefer. And because of all of this, when you want to build on top of Bitcoin, you don't need to create your own custom infrastructure or manual setups or worry about that. You have the abstraction of simply building on top of BTCPay Server. And the great thing about it as well is there are already a number of plugins for BTCPay Server. So if you go to Plugin Builder, this directory, and you click on Plugin, you can go to View Source, and boom, everything that makes payroll plugin run is in here, all the code. So because also most of the plugins are licensed as MIT, you can take parts of the code, you can take all the code and tweak it using AI to serve your purposes. Just make sure that you check the license in the repository, and my own code is always licensed MIT, so you're good. You can always fork and clone from Uncle. Now that we covered all of these, all the bases, how do you actually start going on your own laptop, on your own machine? What do you need to get going? And I recommend 4 things. First of all, some of these are optional, some aren't, so I'm gonna cover that. But this source tree is optional. However, knowing Git and interacting with GitHub, that's not optional. You need to know it. But for newcomers and those that haven't used Git before, I highly recommend GUI. And source tree one is a great GUI, and once you install it on your machine, it will guide you through setting up SSH keys, doing all that stuff, so that you can get going with Git and that you can actually visualize the changes in the repository. Second thing, not optional, prerequisite, because BTCPay Server uses Docker. You need Docker in order to run containers that are prerequisites for BTCPay Server, and hopefully for your own code you will have some interesting dependencies. So with Docker, you don't need to install Postgres for database. You don't need to install Bitcoin Core or LND. This is all in containers that BTCPay Server developers have abstracted to the point where you just run a single line and get containers up. But of course, you need to have Docker installed. That was second thing. Third thing is IDE that you're going to use for coding and debugging by hand. And my recommendation here is JetBrains Writer. It's free for non-commercial use, and hopefully all the code that you will be writing will be free and open source software like FOSS code. So you're good. You can just download this, install it, and use it. And finally, for AI coding, I highly recommend you use Windsurf. Everything that we'll be doing here, you could also manually copy paste and run through ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using. But the Windsurf is so great because it is a clone of VS Code with a context window on the side that I'm going to show. And it has all the different models. It has Claude, it has Codex, it has all the different AI models. You can easily switch between them. And I highly recommend, for you to use Windsurf, and that's what I'll be using in this tutorial. So once you install all of 4, you can start with the next section of the video. And if you need hand-holding through installation process, there is Sunday Coding with Uncle Rockstar. This is something I recorded even 4 years ago, installing source tree, installing Visual Studio back then. But you can see how you go from 0 to compiling BTCPay Server, and then for Windsurf itself, it's pretty simple installation. When you have all of this set up, you will be able to start coding. And this is where you will need to log in into your GitHub account. You will have it hopefully set up with a source tree, and you can go and fork this repository. Because I can't fork my own repository, I've done the second best thing, which is just clone the repository. And there it is. BDB, B2B has the same commit. So I have this repository that I'm going to use for the demo. And then this repository will stay available. So for all of you watching the video, you'll be able to advance from where I'm at. And I want to clone this repository to my local machine. So I go to SSH, copy. If you don't set up SSH key, you can also use HTTPS, but I highly recommend you set up SSH key. So I'm going to use that. And then I go to source tree, go to a new tab, and I say clone, copy the source URL, and I'm going to say this will go to BTCPay Server directory hello world clone. And what's happening now is that this repository is cloned from GitHub to my local machine. Where is hello world? There we go. So everything is being copied here locally. And the cloning finished. So I have the full repository with all of the changes, history, all of that good stuff. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to open this solution file, this directory in Writer. So I double click here. I'm going to trust and open. Writer is now opening a project with all of the references. So we have errors. The errors are because we need dependencies. So these two submodules, every BTCPay Server plugin obviously depends on BTCPay Server. So what we need to do when we clone this repository, with it, we also need to clone dependencies of like dependent repositories. So BTCPay Server repository on commit 106, 1261, and so on. That needs to be in this folder over here, but right now it's not. So the way you're going to do that is you can clone with submodules command, but you can also just double click in source tree. It's going to download that submodule, and then this folder will be populated. And then also we'll need to do that for Strike client because I have plugins that depend on Strike API. So okay, this submodule has been cloned. So I need to clone this submodule as well. I'm done. Man, I always love when commit is suppressing warnings. And now warnings have been suppressed enough so that we can compile the whole solutions. One good thing as well, when you see that exclude folder from Windows Defender, if you're running on Windows, that will help with performance. Or you're like some of the developers that are like, I only use Apple Mac OS. Yeah, I'm a fancy developer, so you can do that as well. You may have a different warning on those machines. Okay, so build has succeeded, and we can now run this solution. We do need to do a few more steps though. Number one, what's important to know for BTCPay Server plugins is that BTCPay Server has this mode where it loads each plugin. Like there is a DLL that gets loaded in BTCPay Server context. And BTCPay Server needs to reference these DLLs. So if after watching Uncle's video, you also go to BTCPay Server documentation, go to plugins, it's highly recommended you read all of this. And this is alternative guide on how you build your first BTCPay Server plugin. But it mentions that you need this app settings dev JSON file. So the good thing with forking my repository or repository of anyone that's built plugins and maintain this config builder is that what this will do is it will automatically go through all of the plugins and create appropriate app settings.dev JSON file. If I select config builder here and I run it, what it's going to do is, okay, it ran successfully and it has created app settings dev JSON that now references all the DLLs, so BTCPay Server will load it. So we've done that, and then the second thing we need to do before we can run this debug mode is we go to BTCPay Server and dependencies like Bitcoin Core, Postgres, everything else I mentioned that we need to run in Docker is defined here in Docker Compose file under dev. So it has everything like LND, mail pit, something that Nicholas has added recently. And for you to run all of this, what you need to do is, okay, let's go into BTCPay Server tests. And then we go Docker, Compose, up, dev. And then we don't want to stay attached in the logging context. So we add this -d detached. Okay, so all our dependencies are now running and we're able to go to BTCPay Server Bitcoin build mode and click debug. And let's get that up and running. Build succeeded. Okay. Debug mode. Loading the browser. So you see like it's loading all of the plugins that I have in this solution. Getting BTCPay Server up and running. Okay, it's now listening on this URL. So for localhost 14.14.2. First start is always the slowest. Okay, I already have initialized my test instance and created an account, but you may need to create an account if you haven't done before. If it's your first run of BTCPay servers, you'll just go in there, enter email and password, and you'll get a fresh instance. As I said, I here already have some data and I have all my plugins loaded with some data as well. And the great thing is once you have this setup up and running is you are able to do all the development that Uncle is doing on BTCPay server. And it's really, really good setup because, you want to debug, put a breakpoint here, just click, refresh, boom. Now you can evaluate all of the variables. You can step through the context. And then this is waiting now, the call. Okay, there we go. all like values of the variables as you step through the code. What I'm doing is I'm pressing F10. You have keyboard shortcuts, or you can navigate through here, like whether you want to step into evaluation of the function or you want to step over that evaluation. So search term was null, this didn't enter, query didn't add all these extra parameters, but now we're going, okay, query will be executed, turned into a list. So now this payroll invoices, okay, it's populated with data from database. We see all the variables. As I told you, yeah, Rockstar coding, you're now able to fully do it on your machine if you followed me up to this point. And now that you have everything set up, boom, there it is, you can go next level with like, Uncle, it's so hard to learn C#. I want to make modifications. How do I do them with AI? Well, super simple, actually. All you're going to do is you're going to load this same project only in Windsurf. So I'm now opening it up in Windsurf, and there we go. We have this exact same solution, only opened in Windsurf. And we can click here to open the context window. And over here, you can select whatever model you want. It has way more than, these are just recommended models. So I don't know if you want to see all the different codecs models, they're here. You want to see Gemini. Yeah, all of them are in there, but I highly recommend for starter to use Claude Sonnet. That's the one after testing all the different models. Like that's the best one currently in Windsurf for me. And you can use it in ask mode, kind of like Chat GPT, or you can do it in code mode where you say like, hello, Claude, currently recording a video to show people how you can code BTCPay Server plugins. Can you help me with that and implement a Hello World plugin following conventions of this repository we're in? There we go. So eager to start. The only thing with Claude is the model is way too eager, and I guess it has to do with being really into tuned towards spending the credits. So whatever you ask it, it just starts working. And as you can tell, yeah, this is already going wild. It went through the structure of this whole repository. It created a to-do list with all of the planned steps and tasks, and now it's doing the work. So yeah, let's see what it's doing. Again, the great thing about Windsurf is that it's optimized for you to see exactly what's being done, and every change is displayed within the ID that Windsurf is. The good thing with this setup that we've done is that you also have a GUI for Git. So you will have an extra step after accepting the changes of being able to navigate through all of the files that have been created or edits that have been done in different files and validate that it's to your liking. So yeah, it seems it's done. And this is one of those jokes. Yeah, if you see well-documented code nowadays, like if you saw well-documented code 5 years ago, you'll be like, this is really a good developer. Now, whenever you see well-documented code, you're like, okay, this is AI. No developer would spend time, yeah, doing all of this by hand and explaining everything and so on and so forth. So, actually created everything. Let's see. Hello world controller. So it will return the view. View is in here. And it will say hello world, some HTML in there, back to home. Nice. One fun thing when I was preparing this video, it actually forgot to generate this file. So I was criticizing it, and now when I'm recording for real, it actually created view imports. And let's see, shared. Also has navigation item, header navigation. This is interesting if it's correct, but I don't think it is. However, let's see. We go here in IDE writer and we try to build everything, because hello world should also be visible here, but it actually is not. Okay, so so it didn't add this project to the solution file. You can say, hey AI, you forgot to reference this new project in solution file, so it can be loaded and right. There we go. No, it's really weird. Again, as someone that has been coding for quite a while, seeing that we're at the point where you're just saying things and changes are being made on your behalf. So, okay, now we're referencing CS project. There it is. Hello world is in here. So, changes made, added project file. Let's build it. Okay, now it's building it. My God, yeah, got it for first try. So let's see if it will actually work. We start in debug mode. And console loading. This is one of the things, yeah, if you're starting in debug mode, you need to be aware that server gets started like slightly later than when browser is loaded. So sometimes you just need to refresh, and then you will get BTCPay Server to respond. Would be cool to see if we can tweak writer to only start a browser after this line. No point in starting the browser if BTCPay Server is not listening on port 14.14.2. Okay, loading. Nice that it also added build configurations. That was a problem. Okay, there it is. And where is our hello world? Yeah, the issue here is that we want it registered exactly same like, say, xpub extractor. So what we can do is now we can go to xpub extractor and we take a look. Okay, where is the extension point? Store integrations nav. And that should be posted instead of header nav, because that hello world is likely adding ending up somewhere else, like in some kind of header. No, no, we want it in here. So let's do the ultimate modification. Um, I don't want a link to Hello World plugin done in like, what is it, header nav. I want it in store integration nav. Follow the conventions already established in, and you can always reference. So if you go at, and you go xpub extractor, you can reference the whole project, then boom, you can give your AI the context. So what would be hilarious now if it does, it just changes this from header nav to store integrations nav. So look at the beautiful future of developers. Instead of just changing the value here, they go through burning all of the resources. Actually, it's done exactly that. So okay, there is something. Oh, it'd be name. Oh my god. See, I'm gonna skip, and I'm gonna like, I deleted the file for you. And then the good thing is, yeah, again, Claude is pretty chatty, so you can queue the messages for it. Just make sure it doesn't contradict your previous command. The thing is also, you here can have an option to also specify conventions for rules, memories, workflows. If you prefer AI to always follow certain roles or conventions, you can enter it in this file that opens once you click here. There we go. Now it should actually work. Let's see. Building it again, starting the project. Hello world nav. Yeah, this is good. We don't really need this directory. But yeah, this should work. And then this link in Razor code, what essentially says, yeah, go to Hello World controller, its index action, and pass on store ID. Well, actually, yeah, we don't have store ID here. But it should still work. If it doesn't, we can remove this part. And then controller is going to return the view, this specific view, and that will be it. So let's refresh. And let's see our plugin in action. No, we can't. Oh my God, we can't. Why? It's because I haven't followed my own instructions from earlier in the video. Like, this is new plugin, so that app settings JSON file needs to include link to DLL. So I go to config builder, run it, boom. App settings is now updated, and now I can. No, I don't want to debug config builder. I want to debug BTCPay Server. There we go. Okay, third time is the charm. And by the way, because you have this setup, you can also debug. You can put, if you're fast enough, you can put breakpoint here, and you can see when Hello World plugin is being loaded, you're gonna get breakpoint trigger here. But now we can finally see, yeah, we've loaded the plugin. Let's refresh here, and now that plugin is loaded, it should add this navigation element, and people can click on the navigation. There we go. Hello World. There is our plugin. Beautiful. And all of the stuff that I showed when it comes to other code in BTCPay Server and other plugins, you can do here as well. Put a breakpoint, refresh, boom. Things are visible. You can also, ensure that you preserve store ID, because that's what's important in order to preserve the navigation here. So we can say, first of all, accept all of these changes, and you can say, like, let's preserve that store ID in order to preserve navigation. So let's say, like, hey AI, this is cool and working, but let's preserve that store ID that you're passing in order for navigation, and the store selector. To stay consistent. So we need it again done as in, and then you can reference, say, this piece of code, say chat, gonna insert the context for AI to look at this file, like do it like it's done here. Now go. Okay, so now, yeah, there we go. We're gonna preserve that store ID. And we can accept changes, accept. It's all good. And now we can apply changes. Will it work with just applying changes without rebuilding? Let's see. Nah, we changed the signature. So of the method, we added a parameter. So need to build it again. Go with start. And oh, can I put a breakpoint here? Oh no, I'm late again. So yeah, this is starting. Okay, and now we go hello world, our breakpoint, boom. There is our plugin successfully loaded back to home. Very advanced plugin, as you can see, right? So this is where I'm going to stop with the coding and showing the AI for what's important to show now before the video ends is how do you actually take this plugin that you have coded and make it available for others to use. And the way you're going to do that is you will take these changes. So I'm going to go here. These are all the changes. I can stage all of my changes, and I can go and say commit and say hello world plugin. There we go. So I've made a commit with all of these files. To make this simpler for people that will be watching this video, what I'm going to do is all of the stuff that I have created previous, like all of these plugins, I can actually remove them. So let's say this admin pass reset, delete all of the files as well, and delete all of this. I'm going to leave Xpub extractor because it's such a simple plugin. well, for all of you, newcomers to coding, just to use it as a reference. So I'm going to delete all of this, deleting from file system. And now that all of this is deleted, I also have a bunch of tests in this repository. So I can remove this, but I need to remove GitHub workflow as well. So in order to showcase AI again, I'll describe my intent instead of doing everything manually. So I'll say, hey, AI, I want to remove all the plugins other than Hello World and Xpub Extractor in order to simplify repository. Do it, and then also remove, what's the name, plugins tests. So plugins tests, while making sure GitHub workflows are also removed in order not to be triggered. Give me a plan of execution first before you proceed. And we actually should see all of these changes in here. But it seems writer didn't delete all of the files as I asked. Okay. Directory. Yes. Proceed. Plan looked actually pretty solid as I was reading it. Run. And configure auto run. Allow list. Yeah, I actually didn't give this to my AI. Can put some of the commands so that it automatically runs them. You deem them as safe. Nah, Uncle is paranoid, so I'm gonna click run manually. Doesn't delete my file system. Now I can see how people are gonna be wrecked in the future. The tests removed and GitHub folder removed. All good, all good. Update solution file. This is pretty impressive, I must tell you. Again, as someone that has been coding by hand for so long, seeing that you can turn this simple text into this complex execution, man, it's impressive. So there we go. It's modifying the solution file as well with all of the changes. Okay, it now can even go and run. Let's see over here. Removed. Okay, I need to remove this as well. The tests project. Boom, there we go. And now can build it here in Writer as well. Succeeded, no problems. Review all of the changes in source tree. It's all removed. Say simplify plugin. repository by removing extra plugins for dear tube watchers of this video. And of course, I want to stage all. Send. And now what I'm going to do is these local changes that I have made, I am going to push them to GitHub, because on GitHub we're still at this point. So what I'm going to do, right click, push to origin, push was sent. And if I refresh this now, boom, you can see that plugins repository contains just these two plugins, and it's all simplified. So what's left now is to go to plugin builder and publish this plugin. When you log in, you can see all the different plugins that Uncle is maintaining. There is also this server administration section that you will not have because you're not server admin on plugin builder. But what you can do here is you go with create plugin, hello world, description, a plugin, Rockstar coded with AI, in order to showcase how easy it is to build BTCPay Server plugins. And we create that, and we need to create a build. So the way we're going to do that is we navigate to this repository. This is the repository. We don't need to enter git branch or tag. If you don't, it's going to use master. So go to plugin. We have you can have multiple plugins in the repository. So we want this specific one that's under plugins, hello world. And all you now need to do is click create. And what's happening now is that plugin builder is fetching the data from GitHub, fetching the full repository, fetching some modules, and restoring the project and building it so that it can ensure that DLL is built from the source, that it's not some kind of DLL you upload, but rather goes directly in here, takes the source code, builds the DLL, and packages it as a BTCPay Server plugin. So now, of course, it takes a little bit of time to do that. So while we wait, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare one of my BTCPay servers. And we go hello world plugin. Okay, so it's been built. And I can now even click and release this plugin. But the good thing is, if you're testing a plugin, please leave it in pre-release. And then the big thing as well will be plugins are by default not available for everyone. They need to be listed. So once you have fully tested your plugin with yourself, your people, you can go and request a listing. Make sure that all of the data is in there so that you can properly market plugin to BTCPay server users. But the great thing is, if you can now navigate to your BTCPay server instance and you go to manage plugins, there are all these different plugins that are available. You actually should be able to, if you type in hello world, oh, there is our plugin. So it will not be visible by default because only the listed plugins are visible by default, and you already see there are tons of them. But if your friend has a BTCPay server and wants to test out your plugin, you just tell him, okay, search for this, okay, found it, install. The alternative is you click this upload plugin, but you really don't want to mess with this on your instance, especially if someone is sending you plugins that they like built, because they can steal all your funds from BTCPay Server. So be careful. That's why it's always good to check the source code and ensure you're only installing it from also reputable person. But again, third party plugins are third parties, done by third parties. So yeah, make sure that you know what you're doing. Anyways, we know what we're doing here with this plugin. So we're now restarting the server to complete the installation. And once that's done, we'll see our plugin here next to all of the other ones. Let's see if our server restarted. It didn't yet. Will take a little bit of time. And again, all of the stuff that I'm showing, you can find it in documentation and reference it if it's faster for you rather than rewatching the video. Okay, there we go. Server restarted, we refresh. And now if we navigate down here, there it is. Hello World plugin. That's available for all BTCPay server users. I hope you enjoyed this video, this deep dive into coding BTCPay server plugins with AI, and hope you liked it. If people like this video so much that it gets some nominal traction, like let's say 100 likes on YouTube or something, I will do a follow-up video showing how we can turn this Hello World plugin into, say, some kind of a Nostr plugin that creates bots that post on Nostr, interact with others, sends apps. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I'm really looking forward to your feedback and hearing how you liked this specific video. And send in any questions you have. Send in a feedback, and I'll be glad to engage and help get more people into coding and specifically into developing BTCPay server plugins. That's it. Uncle Rockstar out. Enjoy your day.